Or 232-8600. Allow us to help put you back on the road to financial success.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands is the perfect place to relax after a long day. Happy hour from 3 to 6 months.
Metro News Sports, good morning. I'm Joe Mercado. The first high school championships of the spring season were awarded Saturday in Charleston at the state tennis tournament. The George Washington boys team claimed their third consecutive.
Mostly cloudy skies, the chance for a shower and a storm, a daytime high near 86 degrees. Overnight low of 68 degrees under mostly cloudy skies and scattered showers and storms. Scattered showers and storms likely again for your Tuesday, otherwise mostly cloudy. A daytime high near 86. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Opinions, rants, commentary, and interviews. Plus, your complete morning news, weather, and sports. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe in the 100 Days of Summer.
Well, I guess it's that showery, muggy time of summer that we're dealing with right now. It's 71 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. They're reporting clear skies, 70 degrees here at my home studios. And it's overcast, but it's lightening up a little bit. We're looking for pop-up showers during the day today. Some storms are possible. It's going to be muggy. That's going to be the word of the next couple of days. As a matter of fact, look for a lot of mugginess over the next couple of days, so be aware of that. And don't forget to do it for Baby Dog. I did it for Baby Dog. Have you done it for Baby Dog yet? Baby Dog, do it for Baby Dog is the theme the Governor Justice is using for us getting some prizes for getting our COVID vaccine. I did it for Baby Dog over the weekend. Hopefully you will do yours sometime soon. Biff, you haven't done it for Baby Dog yet, right?
No, I have not.
But you will, right? You're going to do it for Baby Dog?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, does it matter that I did it though in Ohio?
I don't think so. No, I know because you are a West Virginia resident.
Okay.
So I don't think that will make any difference. Because all they ask you for your driver's license number and for your and the dates that you had your vaccine, and have those things ready when you fill out your application. But I don't think it asks you where you. It does ask where. But I don't think it makes any difference. I don't think it makes any difference if you get it in Ohio or not, as long as you are a resident of West Virginia. I think you're okay.
Okay. Well, you know what?
You gotta get in there. Biffy, what do you want? You want the $1 million? You want the truck? You want the guns? You want the hunting license for a year? What do you want?
Well, see,
you want to go back to school, 4-year scholarship at school?
No more school. No more school. If anything, that'll be for either the niece or nephew. That would be for them. I'll take care of them. That's what that'll be for. But no, I mean, I probably the money would be one. The getaway, maybe the guns. Other than that, I don't.
That's what I did. I did the money, the weekend getaway, the truck. I wouldn't mind having a truck.
Nah, see,
I have one, but wouldn't mind having another truck.
I'd have to sell it though. You'd have to sell the truck, I think.
Why is that?
Because I mean, I wouldn't need a truck.
Gotcha.
So,
and when you sign up for this, it makes it very clear the truck becomes a gift, and you're going to pay taxes on it.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm thinking, I don't mean this in a disparaging way. I think a lot of West Virginians probably wouldn't have the cash. And this is a high-end truck. I forget what it's called, Ridge Runner, something like that. It's a Ford F-150, but it's one of the really super high-end models. I think it's like an $80,000 pickup or something. Paying taxes on that would be probably more than most people could just write a check for, It's a danger in winning something, you have to pay taxes on it.
It's
you think you're going to just here it is, here's your truck, here are the keys, go drive it. Yeah, no, you're going to pay taxes and all that kind of good stuff.
It's kind of bad when you have to think about what prizes you want just because of the certain situations and scenarios that could be behind them.
If the money, I assume, would be taxable as well. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think the money would be taxable. But the difference is, if you win money and you have to pay some money to get the money, you would have the money. You follow what I'm saying?
Isn't it like the lottery, basically?
I think so. And I don't think you would have to. I don't think you'd pay state taxes on that. Maybe federal. I don't think you'd pay state. I'm very unclear about that. Talk to your accountant or your tax advisor before you take my advice on that. But I don't think that you would pay state, but probably federal. But again, the difference with that and the truck, if you get the truck, you got a truck. And then if you have to pay cash for taxes, well, you have to have the cash. If you win the money, you've got money then which you can use to pay your taxes. Anyway, You're right, Biffy. It's kind of sad. You have to stop and think, what
know.
do I which free prize can I afford to get? Yeah, that's true. That's kind of sad. Anyway, do it for baby dog. Do it for baby dog. That's the new mantra here in West Virginia. Do it for baby dog. And you can go to doitforbabydog.wv.gov and get registered. Last Friday, I think we talked about this story, and I want to do a quick follow-up to this. The retired Army colonel who was delivering a speech on Memorial Day in Ohio, and he began to talk about the African American freed slaves and the important part they played after the Civil War. And as he began to talk about the African Americans, they cut his microphone off. Won't let him speak. And after the fact, they said, well, that wasn't the theme of our Memorial Day service. It wasn't about any blacks. It was about people here in our own town. Really sad and depressing incident. And it was an American Legion sponsored event where he was cut off. Anyway, the charter of that particular American Legion post has been suspended Friday, Biffy. And the leader of the American Legion of that particular post has resigned because of that whole incident. And hopefully they can work it out with the American Legion getting their charter reinstated. But whoever cut him off, that person should not have been there. It should not stick around. Really depressing to think that this guy was a retired lieutenant colonel in the Army. Quite storied. I mean, he had a lot of medals and awards. And he was not saying anything controversial. He was simply pointing out that African Americans had an important part to play in our American military too. They cut him off. But in the end, the National American Legion stepped in and suspended the charter. I would hope that they would get it back.
And again, out of all the days and times to do it, I mean, on Memorial Day, really?
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine that? Imagine if this would have been Veterans Day and they did it on Veterans Day.
Right.
I just you wonder what certain people are thinking, and I think again another scenario where we've gone too far with feelings and thoughts and everything else. I mean, just let the guy go.
You might think that, well, maybe whoever was in charge of the microphone was only half listening and thought, oh, wait, what is he saying? I don't know that we want that out. But no, the State American Legion in Ohio did an investigation. They determined, and I quote here, the censoring of Colonel Kentner's speech was premeditated and planned. They knew I'm quoting still from the State American Legion. They knew exactly when to turn the volume down and when to turn it back up again. So it isn't as if they were like, oh, wait, what's he saying? I don't know. Oh, maybe we better cut that off. No, they knew what he was saying. They knew when he was going to say it, and they purposely cut it off.
So they had to have, and I don't know how they would have, unless they gave them one too, they would have had a copy of what he was going to say.
Correct.
Because how else do you know at that exact moment, okay, well, it's got to go down, it's got to go up. I mean, that would be the only way I would think. Someone got a copy of that speech and gave it to him.
Absolutely. And they used it to literally censor it when he began to talk about African American involvement in the military and the Civil War. I mean, it's just, I don't even know what word to use. It's depressing. It's disappointing. But the State Legion stepped in. I mean, this apparently there was a couple of folks who just didn't want to hear anything positive said about African Americans in the military, I guess. Anyways, the two people who were involved, one was the commander of the post and someone else who was involved in running the sound. They both were removed from their office, and the charter of the American Legion Post in Hudson, Ohio has been suspended. Again, I would hope after further review that maybe, assuming they don't determine this is sort of an ongoing problem, I would hope they could return that charter. The State Legion office said, and I quote, "We are deeply saddened by this and stand in unity and solidarity with the black community and people of all races, colors, religions, sex, and gender, so that those who are exclusive of such persons will know their behavior is not acceptable in the American Legion, in our homes, in our hearts, in our communities, in private, public, or anywhere else. We continue to educate the value of diversity, being different amongst each other is what makes us better together." That's a statement from the State Legion in Ohio. I wanted to follow up on that because we talked about the incident last week, and now it has moved forward to this level. 8:20 in the morning here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Coming up a little bit later on, what does Governor Justice do all day? That's a great question. And Joe Severino, a reporter for the Gazette-Mail, set out to find out. What's the governor do all day? Where is he? What's he do? It turned out it was more difficult to get that information than you might think. He's going to join us later on this morning to tell us what he found out and what he didn't. Senator Manchin reaffirms his opposition to For the People Act and also his opposition to ending the filibuster. I want to get your thoughts on that. A new internal National Democratic poll, a report, not a poll, but a report, suggests the Democratic Party needs to focus its message on the economy and needs to aggressively reject the Republican Party's efforts to label Democrats as radical leftists. Meanwhile, in West Virginia, the state Democratic Party had a big dust-up this weekend in a meeting to deal with affirmative action. We'll try to check into all of that coming up later on this morning. Earlier today, Biff and I were talking about this. Isn't a charcuterie board just a meat and cheese tray with a fancy name on it? The Wheeling Chamber has a charcuterie challenge fundraiser underway, and I hope that you will support it. It's just, do we have to give everything a hoity-toity name? It's a meat and cheese tray.
It's easier to say, if anything else.
Charcuterie board. It's a charcuterie board. Jeez. I was back in person in my home church for the first time since the pandemic began. It was great to be in the presence of friends and fellow worshipers, and had communion for the first time there. I'm curious if you are attending in person now. What's your experience? What's happening in your church? I would like some phone calls on that at 304-232-8255. Are you attending church? Are you going back into your sanctuary? Or have you decided that it's okay to virtually attend church? And I think a lot of people are going to do that. In our church, Advanced Church, we began a Facebook ministry. We began adding the Facebook Live broadcasting of our service, and we have a large following of people who follow that. And while many of them have now begun to return to church, I think a lot will probably decide it's okay to stay and watch from home. I'm curious what you're going to do. 304-232-8255. That is the phone number for you to use, 304-232-TALK. If you don't want to call me, you can text me, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Let's see, anything else we're going to do today? I think that's a good look at what's coming up this morning here on the Watchdog Morning Show. It's 8:23, 71 at the airport, 70 at the home studio, 70 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley.
What is
Hello, roofers.
2 Coors Lights up there!
Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go, 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure, I mean, you being a mountain climber and all,
Yep.
you probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Value starts here at your Toyota dealer with savings and reliability you can count on. So check out a RAV4 now with up to $750 cash back, or a Camry with up to $1,250 cash back, or go with a Corolla and take up to $1,000 cash back. Visit buyatoyota.com and find a dealer near you. You can take cash back or apply toward down payment. Offers may vary for hybrid models. See your dealer for details. Offers end July 6th. Toyota, let's go places.
Smithfield, the watchdog is protecting your yard. Join Howard Monroe, Hoppy Kercheval, Bill DeFabio, and Big Rick for the best live and local talk in the Upper Ohio Valley and beyond. Smithfield trusts the watchdog.
We're on air, online, on video, and on demand. Find us where you like us. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Off the community calendar, the Catholic Charities Neighborhood Center has their 25th annual spaghetti dinner coming up this Sunday, June 13th, from noon to 5 at the Neighborhood Center for Catholic Charities on 18th Street in Wheeling. They do curbside pickup, so you can call and place your order, or they'll have someone out front to take your order and bring it to you. 25th annual spaghetti dinner for the Catholic Charities. A good cause and a good event, and probably pretty good spaghetti too. I like spaghetti dinners. I always enjoy those. That's, of all the fundraisers, Biffy, that's a good one to go to. Spaghetti dinners, right?
Yes, it is, because that's one day you don't got to worry about cooking dinner.
That's exactly right. Although this Sunday, I'll have to time this exactly right, because I always do go to the Catholic Charities spaghetti dinner and get some. Our church is having our annual picnic this year up at Ogilvy Park on Sunday. So I'll have the picnic at the park. Let that digest a little bit. And then go for spaghetti dinner.
You get a twofer on Sunday.
And then somewhere around 6:30 or so, I'll say to my wife, honey, what's for dinner? And she'll say, we just went to a picnic. I don't know what we're having with the picnic, but you just went to a picnic. You had this, and now we're going to, you had spaghetti dinner. There's no food. I'm not cooking anything. And I will say, can we order something? Because it's just the way it is in the Monroe household. 8:28 here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Let's see. I did get a message from a local attorney, Biffy. No, it's not a bad one.
That's good.
It's not, I'm going to sue you. No. He just said all of the prizes are taxable. All of those prizes are taxable.
Okay, but if the money though is like they do the lottery, like if you win the Powerball or the Mega Millions, I don't think there'd be a problem with that one. I think it's just the truck.
Yeah, the truck, maybe the 4-year scholarship, because those are high ticket items, right? And you don't have again, if you win the cash, you will have cash to pay your taxes if you have to pay taxes. But if you win the scholarship, or if you win the truck, you won't have. You don't get any. It goes back to your comment earlier, Biff. Just have to sell the truck to get the money to pay the taxes for the truck that you got. So
yeah,
keep that in mind. But anyways, a local attorney texted me and said it's all taxable, which of course probably is true because the government always has to get its share, right?
Oh yeah. God forbid they don't get their share.
No, absolutely. Can't read this next text. Biffy, can you check your text line, the one that begins, Howard, please? But I can't read the rest of it, so I don't know what that says.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
it something we should ignore, or?
Let me do this because, like you, I am having trouble reading it, just the first 2 words. And let's see. Let me go back and see if this works. Nope, I can't read it. I can't read it either.
Sometimes these things come up later. Y'all have to understand. I'm not sure sometimes how our text line works. Every once in a while, we have a preview screen. Then you open that up and actually read the text, as people have with all different kinds of things. So a lot of times, Biff and I can see the preview screen where it gives us like first 2 or 3 words, but it doesn't come up in full. And that's what they have right now. Howard, please. And then,
yeah,
I don't know. But it may come up later. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes after a while it pops up. So we'll check that out in a bit. Biffy, you said you, of course, you've been going to Mass now since they shut Mass down for a while, right? For in-person Mass, right?
Yeah, they did for a while, and then I want to say, for some reason, maybe May or June, I think we were allowed to start going back, but they had the
This is June, so it probably would have been May.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, after they'd gone through everything, it might have been before. I can't remember. I'm losing track of time and everything.
I got you, yeah.
Everything's running together. But whenever it was that they said, okay, you can go back to in person having services, that was when they had all the rule changes in place. So I guess different churches, it depended on where you went. They had different rules that they used. I know we go every other pew. They've got them roped off or something
Still
on there.
doing social distancing kind of stuff.
Still doing the social distancing. So you have every other row, and then when you go into church, they sanitize your hands. They spray stuff on your hands. Then you go into church. They got the social distance for the pews, and then before communion, they spray your hands again before that, and then there's like certain requirements to get communion and that the priest has to follow to along with everybody in place, and then that's it. I mean, there are no hymnals or books or anything in the pews, and they pass out bulletins at the end of Mass, but and then up until a couple weeks ago, if you were vaccinated, they did away with the masks. So yeah, so it's just now it's social distancing in the pews, and still, when you go in and before communion, they spray your hands with sanitizer and still give out bulletins.
Are you seeing significant numbers of people coming back into the church, into the sanctuary?
I think it's about the same, maybe just a little bit more, but I think numbers really haven't changed, and I think it's personal preference and whether or not you want to go back. And I know a couple people have asked, how are they still doing the masks? Are they still doing some of the other stuff that they were doing? And I think some people are basing whether going back or not just on what rules are still in place. But I still say, and one of the things is when everything first started, and we were either watching Mass or listening, however you did it while we weren't actually in the in the church, but when it was allowed that everybody could come back, and I think the bishop kind of saying, well, if you still want to watch or listen or do whatever and not go in, I think a lot of people really took advantage of that and thought, well, okay, if we don't have to go back in, we're not going to go. I mean,
What do you think the upshot's going to be? Do you think that when this fades away eventually and masks are gone and maybe social distancing is gone, do you think that people will return to their sanctuaries in the numbers they did before pandemic? Or do you think a lot of folks are going to get used to having listened on the radio, having watched on Facebook and say, this is okay for me?
Sadly, I think that's what's going to happen. I think a lot of people that already are taking advantage of, listening, watching, going on Facebook or wherever. I think you're going to see more of that now.
Yeah, I think so too. I've had the conversation with my own pastor a couple of times, and she believes that, and she might be right. I hope she is. She believes that people have been away from their church so long that they really have a great desire to get, this has been sort of a transformative time period. This pandemic has been that people are going to want to get back to church. And I hope that's the case. I think an awful lot of people have discovered that they can, quote, go to church while sitting in their underwear in their living room, So I'm not as optimistic we'll see a large return. Now, in my church, when the pandemic first hit, we didn't say nobody can come in, but we made it clear that we would prefer that people just watched on. We added our Facebook Live feed at that time. We've always had a radio feed, and we made it clear we'd prefer for the time being you do that. Handful of people, as in like 4 or 5, sometimes would come into the sanctuary with their masks on and so on. But it has now grown back. I think I saw 60, 70 was the number last week. There was a pretty full congregation this week. This was my first time back in the sanctuary, in physically church, since the pandemic began. And, Biff, I mean, it's nice to be around people again. It's nice to take part in worship in a physically, what's the word I'm looking for? Just with people actually around you. Yes, you can. I believe you can do it otherwise. Yes, I believe virtual is okay, if that is adequate for you. But I think you miss something when you're not physically there.
Yeah, I mean, it's seeing everybody and getting finished and catching up on what's going on with the week and everything, and you just you miss all that when you're not there.
If you all would like to offer your thoughts, 304-232-8255 is the CityNet hotline for a phone call, or 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600 if you want to use the text line. This is the text I couldn't read earlier. It popped up, Biffy.
Oh, yeah, I see now that I have it as well.
Howard, please leave your imaginary friends off this show. No one cares about church but churches. You really need a building or internet to have a relationship with your God? He's imaginary. You don't need those things. Wow. Just wow. Just wow. Do you need a building or internet to have a relationship with your God? No. A church is not a building. A church is a community of believers. It's not a building. It's not an internet. But worship is a critical part to having a community of believers. And I don't want to challenge whoever sent this in. I don't want to challenge your belief. You don't have a belief in God. That is a belief that you're entitled to have. I would challenge you in saying no one cares about church but churches. I think, well, maybe that's true, but a lot of people care about churches. Wow.
I think let's see, to go back, and I think a lot of people feel that way, that's what the trend is going more towards, that they don't believe in something. I'll say it that way. But to go back to the no one cares about church but churches, I wonder if that's more of a money issue maybe, because if nobody's going into church to give their offering, how are churches making money?
If this listener texter wants to have a discussion about organized religion has kind of lost its way in some places, I'm in for that. Because, to use his quote, no, you don't have to have a building to have a church. A church is a community of believers that reaches out into the community and does things, I think, in Christ's name. Others believe it for other deities' names. That's fine. And I do think that organized religion sometimes goes too far. Then you get these televangelists, Biff, that just give a bad name to religion all the way around, right?
Yeah, they're
Send
out there.
your contribution to God and care of brother how. I mean, I can see why people get turned off by some religion, right? I do. I get that completely. So if you want to have an argument, a discussion about organized religion maybe needing to rethink itself, I'm with you on that. I rethink it all the time. And again, you're entitled to your opinion, but when you say God is imaginary, I hope he's as tolerant of your opinion as I am. I guess that's in the Forrest Gump world, and that's all I'm going to say about that right now. But it's worth a conversation, and I do appreciate you sending your thoughts to me. All right, way behind time, 18 till the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. I really am curious about how people are feeling about going back into church, back into their sanctuaries, back into their congregations physically. So text me 304-214-1600. Do you agree with this last guy? Do you think God's imaginary? Do I talk too much about church? I try not to talk a lot about church. I sometimes will tell you what I've done with church because I preach on Sundays. And I think that the aspect of people going back into church after the pandemic is one thing we look at. Are people going back to work or working from home? Are people going to go back into their sanctuaries or continue to work to worship from home? I mean, I think those are fair and valid conversations. But if you agree with this guy, Howard, please leave your imaginary friends off the show. No one cares about church but churches. Do you feel that way? 304-232-8255. 304-214-1600. Let me double check the temperature just for the heck of it. Yep, gone up 1 degree, 72 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, still 70 here at my home studios. Still overcast here at the home studios, but the sun is trying to kind of make its way through a little bit. Going to be pop-up showers all and off throughout the day today. It's 8:44. I'm way behind him. 8:44, time for the 8:30 news.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time.
Afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Island Pawnbrokers is now your local firearm dealer. In a pinch? Need cash quick? See us before going to the big box stores. Paying top dollar for firearms, gold, silver, tools, coins, and electronics. Don't lose your good credit. Let us give you instant cash. Stop by 2 North Broadway Street on Wheeling Island, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Island Pawnbrokers. Stop in for instant cash.
Jobs, jobs, and more jobs. If you're looking for employment, the WTRF Ohio Valley Job and Career Fair is the place to be. On June 10th at the Wheeling Park Ice Rink, come prepared to meet with employers from a variety of industries that are looking to hire entry-level to experienced workers. Dress professionally, bring copies of your resume, and be prepared for on-site interviews. Don't miss the WTRF Ohio Valley Job and Career Fair on June 10th at the Wheeling Park Ice Rink. For more information or to see how your business can participate, visit the Job and Career page on WTRF.com.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
Follow us on Facebook for the latest news, show updates, podcasts, alerts, and live video streams from the Valley's only network dedicated to local, community-driven talk radio, The Watchdog.
Miss a part of the show? Want to hear a segment again? Check out our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
72 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 70 here at my home studios. We're going to see pop-up showers on and off throughout the day today. It's going to be a muggy and really rainy week for most of the week. That beautiful weekend we had, well, was a beautiful weekend. It's come and it's gone. It's 8:50, before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Looking down the pike a little bit, coming up tomorrow here on the show, we'll talk to Wheeling Councilman Dave Palmer. There is an ordinance pending in the city of Wheeling before City Council to kind of tighten up fireworks regulations. Councilman Palmer and others have been distressed about the amount of individuals setting fireworks off in their backyard and those kind of things. There already is a fireworks ordinance on the books, but apparently this one's going to tighten it up and be more clear and maybe give the police a little more authority to do something about it. We'll talk about that and it's a little contentious. I've talked to several council members. Not everybody is behind it. Councilman Palmer is a strong supporter of it. He will be with us tomorrow here on the Watchdog Morning Show. And Biff, I have talked a lot about the Ohio County School Board eliminating a significant part of the funding that they had been providing to the Ohio County Public Library. It's become quite controversial. They've had a number of people coming to their school board meetings and complaining about that, a lot of letters to the editor and so on. And I have certainly raised some concerns about it, and we talked about it on Friday with John McCabe and I. Wednesday, we're going to hear from Ohio County School Board member David Croft. David Croft is one of the members who voted for the reduction in funding for the school board, or for the library, I should say. So what's the reasoning behind it? There was a piece penned in the paper over the weekend, which you can read, and he's going to join us on Wednesday to talk about that. So Ohio County School Board member David Croft with us Wednesday to talk about why he voted to eliminate some of that funding. And we'll have some good conversation about that, I think. Let's see. Tex, we've been talking about going back to church. And are you going back into your church physically? Are you worshiping in person now? Now that the pandemic has begun to lessen, you don't have to wear masks. You don't have to be quite as concerned about fear of catching COVID and so on. And in some cases, like in the Diocese of Wheeling-Charleston, the previous order had been you do not come into church. Now it's to return to church again. So I'm just curious what people are doing. Although we've got a couple of strange comments that we had coming in, including one who said that God is imaginary and stop talking about my imaginary friends off the radio. Off the text line, referencing that last guy I mentioned, Howard, that man needs Jesus now more than ever. I'm not going to get into that. I do talk about religion here on the show, but I'm not going to proselytize. But as I said, you don't want to believe that God's real. It's entirely up to you. And you want to have a personal conversation about it, we can, but I'm not going to condemn you for your personal belief. That's fine. I took a little offense when you said me and my imaginary friends. Although, come to think of it, since I was a kid, I've had imaginary friends.
Isn't that different, though?
It's a different kind of thing. Text line 304-214-1600. Howard, the bishop has revoked his dispensation to not attend Mass because of COVID. I think that's right. Correct, Biffy? The bishop has now said, for a while it was do not attend. There's been dispensation for it. Now that dispensation has been lifted, correct?
Well, I mean, even if he did lift it, the fact that it was even said the first time, and a lot of people, I think, are still, they're going to say they're going to find other ways to watch or listen to the service rather than being in person.
The texter here says, I myself like the internet Mass. Okay. I think, how do I want to phrase this? I don't want to say hypocritical. I don't mean that. And I do know that the Catholic Church believes that the physical involvement, particularly with communion, with the Mass, is vital. And that's why you're supposed to physically go to church. And I get that. On the other hand, it seems to me that the Catholic Diocese in Wheeling-Charleston, for example, does a huge amount of media outreach, Biff. They broadcast on our radio station on Sundays, on the radio. They broadcast on the internet, I think. They have, I don't know if they still do, they used to have a TV version of their Mass.
They do.
So it may be that you're supposed to go into church, but I think the diocese recognizes that not everybody does and will, and this is prior to the pandemic, so they make it available elsewhere. Again, speaking for my church, that's what we've discovered is that we have created sort of a second community of worshipers who do so over the internet, and specifically with Facebook Live. And if you if you watch our Facebook Live from Vance Church, you will see a lot of dialogue going on during the, people responding to what's happening, responding to each other. So I think there's something to it. I like to go to church when I can. But when I can't, or I'm not physically able to, or something intrudes in my scheduling, or if I'm preaching someplace else and I can't make it to my church, I'd like to be able to pick it up and watch it at some later date. So I don't find anything wrong with the virtual worshiping. I think personally, I find it better to be in person. But again, I'm going to kind of leave it up to y'all. Whatever you think is your opinion, and you're entitled to it. If you want to send me some thoughts on that, continue to do so. 304-214-1600. 304-214-1600 is the text line, and you can call me if you'd like to. 304-232-8255. I posted a whole big piece about the Catholic Church primarily on my Facebook and Twitter pages over the weekend. Church after COVID, why bother going back? And it's a fairly lengthy piece in the Washington Post. It focuses almost exclusively on the Catholic Church in this country. But if you want to check it out and read it, it's on my Facebook page and on my Twitter page. I put a lot of stuff up on Facebook and Twitter this weekend. Hopefully you, from time to time, weekends especially, because I can't get to you here on the radio. When things crop up that I want to at least make you aware of, or that I maybe want to offer a quick comment on, especially on the weekends, I post a lot of things on Twitter and on Facebook. And boy, I've been noticing more and more people are responding to Twitter now than to Facebook. Used to be the other way around. I do them both, but I see more and more people responding to my Twitter, my tweets. I remember when I didn't even know what a tweet was, Biffy.
Yeah, you thought it was the bird.
I thought it was. I thought it had something to do with the early morning chirping of the birds outside, or what have you. Anyway, if you want to text me, you can. If you want to call me, you can. You can also read my Facebook page and my Twitter page, and you're welcome to respond. But you can also read those things, and I put a good bit of stuff up, as I said, over the weekend, so you can check that out. Now, coming up after the news. This is really interesting. An interesting piece in the Charleston Gazette Mail over the weekend. Joe Severino was the author of the article. What's Governor Justice do all day? I mean, we know he holds his press conferences. And other than that, we don't really see him much, right? And if you do, as I do, talk to legislators in Charleston, they say, we don't see him too much. You know, when Joe Manchin was governor, I mean, he was an omnipresent presence at the Capitol. He wandered those hallways. He popped into rooms. He spoke to he was around all the time. And legislators are going, we don't know. Governor Justice? We don't know. Where is? I don't know. So Joe Severino set out to find out, what's the governor do all day? What he found may be interesting to you. He's going to join us coming up in the next hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Just about 9 o'clock. Before we do that, though, let's check ABC News right now.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News.